You're listening to a Roddenberry podcast.
You're listening to Mission Log the Orville, an episode-by-episode discussion of the adventures of the crew of the USS Orville.
Welcome to another episode of Mission Log the Orville, as we continue to dig deep into the Dark Horse comics by David A. Goodman. This episode, we crank up the Aronov device and digress to those halcyon days. How do you say that, Mike?
Halcyon. I'm not even sure what it means, to tell you the truth.
Wonderful. To digress to those halcyon days. Please don't cut that out, because I don't ever claim to know things if I don't know them. To those halcyon days after the episode tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. But before the road not taken to discuss Digressions, Part 1 and 2. I'm Jessica Lynn Verdi.
And I'm Mike Richards. Mission Log the Orville is a conversation that depends on your participation. We'll dive deep. Yeah, I said it. We're going to keep that one too. We'll dive deep into the messages, morals, and meanings in Digressions and see if it lives up to the Roddenberry Star Trek philosophy.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, and then we'll get to hear your thoughts and ideas when you tell us what you think at ML_the Orville on Twitter, Mission Log Pod on Facebook, or you can email us at missionlog-the-orville@roddenberry.com. If you're watching this on the Roddenberry YouTube channel, hit like and subscribe. And remember, we may use your comments on an upcoming episode. Now here's Jessica with the recap.
Full disclosure, I did write some of it, and the other half is supplemented by the fandom Wikipedia on the Orville. So thank you so much, fandom.
Yeah, so much work goes into that, and it is such a resource. Anybody that does anything Star Trek, any Star Trek podcasting, has used Memory Alpha on the Wiki fandom, and this Orville Wiki site has just become as valuable a resource.
Well, so this is the fandom one, just in case. I don't know if there's a different one. And
no, this is the fandom one I'm talking about.
Okay, great, because my friend works. I have a couple of friends that work for fandom, so they're doing good work over there. It's actually, I think, the largest wiki out there now.
It is.
Besides Wikipedia,
maybe more news to follow on that with our network and tying things together.
Oh, no, that's interesting, and I have no idea what you're talking about, so I'm just going to do a recap.
Do your recap.
Digressions. Exposition Kelly has returned to explain to us and her husband Cassius how she was accidentally sent 7 years into the future when a Kalon named Isaac helped a man named John Lamar turn the classified Aronov device into a time machine. She met her future ex-husband, a man named Ed, who she had only just gone on a first date with the night before in her timeline. When they eventually send her back to her rightful time, Dr. Claire Finn attempts to wipe Exposition Kelly's memory of the event, but that is unsuccessful. The knowledge of the pain Kelly caused Ed in their future relationship compels her to deny him a second date, to the detriment of Ed's life and career, and possibly to human life as we know it. Kelly has put the event out of her mind as much as possible for a woman with whatever it is in her DNA that makes it hard to get memory wiped in the first place. But when she meets Isaac in this timeline, it all came rushing back. And the burden of knowing that the potential extermination of the entire human race also makes her afraid that she has a responsibility to tell the Union. But who would believe her? When Kelly rejects Ed, we see him and a young Gordon Malloy going out for drinks. Gordon and a familiar-faced bartender make mediocre attempts to console him. This sets his career ambitions aside, and he wants to get away from Kelly. Ed vows to take the first ship assignment he can get. All right. In September 2419, in the shuttle bay of the Orville, Captain Griffith welcomes Science and Engineering Officer Isaac to the crew. Bortus acknowledges that there may be some competition with Isaac. Griffith explains that Steve Newton has been promoted from Engineering Officer to First Officer, while John Lamar was promoted to take Steve's place. The Orville then sets course for Epsilon 2, paralleling the events of Old Wounds. Meanwhile, Ed, now Second Officer, sits at the mess hall of the bar of the USS Watson, chatting with that same familiar-faced bartender, Olix. Ed's old ambition has returned, and he wants to transfer to the USS Jefferson due to personality conflicts with his current commander, who is also Sigourney Weaver, Captain Barrett. Shortly thereafter, Barrett denies Ed's request, even though she does not like his personality at all or his 500-year-old jokes. His intelligence and job performance makes him too valuable an asset to lose, and she promotes him to first officer. Ed calls Gordon with a quote-unquote good news. Gordon is stuck on administrative work, which I find really hard to believe, honestly, and Ed promises to help him out if possible. Ed is unenthusiastic about the promotion. He wanted the spot on the Jefferson to work with its first officer, Kelly. On the Jefferson, Admiral Ozawa walks onto the bridge and orders the ship to call the Orville. The Orville narrowly won the Battle of Epsilon 2 against the Krill and has a quantum accelerator from the Epsilon Science Station. In her first officer's chair, Kelly watches the Orville on screen in dismay, silently knowing Isaac aboard the Orville will betray the Planetarian Union. This is when we also finish my part of the recap that I did. She tells Cassius what she knows. Cassius believes her, but advises against telling the Admiralty because the universe will take care of itself. There we go. I think we're back on track. Back on the Orville around September 2420, Chief Security Officer Alara Khatan's body weakens due to the ship's Earth-like gravity. John tries to mollify her, but she knows she needs to return to her home on Zalea. The decision made John and Alara share a kiss, maybe more. We don't know. Barrett leads the Watsons away team to a planet. Ed recommends Gordon for a position on the ship, but the conversation takes an embarrassing turn once she sees his poor personnel file, and Ed says he will find another officer. In the science lab of the Orville, Isaac talks with John when he suddenly deactivates. The senior staff is flummoxed by the complexity of his Kalon body and agree to return him to Kalon 1. The Jefferson docks at a space station for a cargo transfer and the unexpected arrival of 3 guests, Claire Finn and her sons, Ty and Marcus. Kelly mistakenly believes Claire worked aboard the Orville, not realizing that in this timeline, Claire accepted a different assignment because she goes where she's needed. Realizing that since Claire never worked on the Orville, she'll never fall in love with Isaac. So Kelly rushes to her quarters to contact Admiral Tom Halsey to tell him everything. Halsey tells Kelly that the Orville's already on its way to Kalon 1. How could she possibly know that? Kelly, to her horror, realizes she's probably too late. Casting her fears of being considered a lunatic aside, she is able to get Lamar and Kiara on a private call and attempts to convince them that they're heading toward a trap by telling them things no one could possibly know, namely that she was a victim of the classified Aronov device. John and Tala tell their captain, who goes around and tells Kelly's captain, prompting Kelly to take things into her own hands. She quits. Cassius is appalled when he realizes that Kelly thinks she has to go it alone and commits to being by her side no matter how crazy she is. Kelly tries to explain to Claire the circumstance, and while Claire is suspicious at first, Kelly asks if it's possible to see if a memory wipe was attempted on someone. To their luck, it is, and Claire does find some evidence of the attempt, but that an easy-to-miss part of Kelly's DNA might have been the reason it didn't take, something that's so easy to miss that even Dr. Claire Finn might have. Well, that's enough for Claire to buy in. Next, they're off to get a ship that looks like it's straight out of Firefly. John and Tala and the Orville are indeed towing the Kalon back to Earth to what will eventually be their doom, but a secret plan was put in place in the event that Kelly was correct. I think that's right. An electromagnetic pulse, I think also that's right, large enough to only kill the Kalon on board, but it's the best they can do. John and Tala take out to rendezvous with Kelly. Cassius is killed by surprise Kalons. Bortus is the lone survivor on the Orville at the bottom of the ocean, and the rest is future history. Whew. I think I got most of that right.
Wow. Yeah. I when I read Digressions Part 1, I was so confused. I had to go back and read it again before going on to Digressions Part 2. So a couple of things on your recap. I'm so glad I didn't have to do this one.
Yes, please fix it.
So you think mollify? You think that's what John was trying to do?
Yeah, that's interesting. That's an interesting choice. Listen, they do. We've talked about this before about how important it is when writing to be succinct. Yeah. And those are good ways to put a lot into one word. I don't know that mollify is the exact right word.
Yeah, I think you had other plans for
I think they saw those other plans through.
Yeah. Oh no.
According to Isaac.
According to Isaac, they did. And you mentioned Firefly. I laughed because in the episode, which I just rewatched, which was The Road Not Taken, which was the final season of episode 2, and Ed and Gordon in their shuttle after rescuing the food synthesizer and making a Twinkie get tractor beamed, and they look at this ship, and all I was thinking is Reavers, man. It's Reavers.
It's Reavers.
And I think Gordon even made the line where he said they're gonna cut our skin off and wear it as a suit.
He does say that.
And I was like, that's what Reavers do.
That's exactly
that's
right.
what Reavers do.
Because that's what Reavers do.
That's why I don't want to. Yeah, but so many good references that we'll talk to later on. But for anybody who's interested, this also written by David A. Goodman, artist David Cabeza, colorist Michael Atea, was published on May 5th of 2021. That was part 1. Part 2 was June 2nd of 2021. And unlike the rest of season 2.5, this was set between episodes 213 and 214. What our fans may also notice, or fans of the comics may also notice, is that season 1.5 had 2 stories, whereas season 2.5 has 4 stories. The stories of Digressions and next week, when we cover Artifacts, those were both added on. So there was sort of like a post-production meeting where David Goodman was meeting with Dark Horse Comics.
Dark Horse, get in there. We can.
Dark Horse.
Yeah.
I told you, I'm a Long Islander. Dark
Horse, the real
is
New
hard
York.
to say. Dark Horse Comics.
You really you worked through it.
It's a process. So he said he'd like to write the story to kind of sew those two together, and I think it's great. But so these two stories of Artifacts and Digressions were both added onto season 2.5, which had already been published the previous year. I think that was like late 2020.
Ah, fascinating.
And now they all appear in the library edition and the 2.5 comics.
Well, I think it's really smart what the comics overall, and what I'm realizing just in reading them, they're just filling in the blanks for a couple things that, like, we would want to know. Like, I didn't realize, like, I'm pretty good at suspending disbelief. Sometimes if someone points something out, it might bother me, but usually not. If I like the characters, if I like the general arc of the story, I'm going to enjoy it. I'm never someone who's like, season 4 was really bad, but I loved it, typically.
Right.
So I didn't ever put a lot of conscious thought into why didn't future Kelly or past Kelly try and do everything she could to stop the Kalon. And I know that, like, they might have had a couple you just recently rewatched it. Did she excuse that in the actual show?
No, I think her motivation was the Ed Kelly relationship.
Oh, no, but she didn't. But that's what I'm saying. Like, what she's doing now is trying to stop it, and we didn't have this episode filmed, so all these things that she's doing right now we didn't see her do. We just saw them get to post-war with the Kalon. So that's what I was asking. Did she excuse that she didn't try to stop the war in
Not really. So there was a line where she explained what happened to Ed.
Right.
And Ed was like, for God's sakes, Kelly, you took temporal law. You go back in time, you kill Hitler, something else, things could end up worse. And she was like, look, all I saw was that I caused you a lot of pain, and I wanted to avoid that.
And so we didn't see her. We didn't see what we're reading right now.
Right.
Which made me go, oh my God, I should have questioned what she did with the information that she has. Granted, she thought she was going to just save. I can't imagine she thought all of that would come tumbling into place 6 years later. But it's really cool just to fill in the blanks, I guess, is my point.
Yeah, it really is. It's I think it's a great piece of supplemental material.
Yeah.
Which is what we got. Couple of things. We got the return of Captain Mosley, aka Yaphet Kotto.
Correct.
And I love this part. He's the captain of the Jefferson. He's got a picture of Thomas Jefferson next to the desk, much like there's a picture of the Wright Flyer flown by Orville and Wilbur Wright.
I didn't understand that. I was like, why is Washington next to this dude?
It was Thomas Jefferson.
I got it now. I mean, I knew it was like an older...
Yeah, it was an old white guy.
Yeah. I'm so racist against you guys.
It's all right.
No, I just was like, wait, and then I just didn't care, and I moved on. Good job.
But I loved this. He had a copy of Ian Fleming's Live and Let Die on his desk.
Amazing.
So that settles that. And now we have Captain Barrett, who I thought maybe was a Majel Barrett thing, but oh no, she's got a full-on action figure of Alien on the shelf behind her. So that is
just in case we were confused, we know
Captain
now.
Sigourney Weaver.
Well, I think we could still have it be an homage to Majel just by using the name, right? Like,
I think so.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that was David Goodman was saying, boy, if I was going to produce Star Trek these days with the original of the Cage pilot, maybe Sigourney Weaver would make a great number one. Although I think that Rebecca Romijn does pretty well herself.
It is not easy shoes to fill. And I'm the kind of person who has a hard time buying somebody in the role if they don't look really closely to the person that they're trying to. Like, it just took me a second with our current... but Anson Mount is so great, like, that I just don't need him to exactly look like the former Captain Pike. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Pine does such a great job encapsulating Kirk. So you can win me over, I guess is my point. But she is doing well.
I think you can be won over. And her ship was called the Watson, and the photo next to her desk was of geneticist James Watson, who did some of the early research on DNA.
Which correlates to Kelly having that one errant DNA thing.
That's exactly right. That one thing that she was without. And also, this also came from the Orville Wiki, that the pilot who informed Kelly that 3 passengers, a.k.a. Claire, Ty, and Finn, wanted to go with him, was drawn as David Cabeza. That's what he looks at.
Oh, how sweet is that?
That is what he looks at. And we did have one little call out to a character named Shiva, no doubt referring to Sherry Shiva Pravat Damrong, longtime collaborator with Seth MacFarlane and producer on the Orville.
Love this.
Now, we did get a mention in The Road Not Taken of Captain Griffith, and we did hear that name before, but we did never see them before. I suspected that was a shout-out to Howard Griffith, a co-executive producer on the show, but we didn't see the appearance until this episode. And let me tell you, it is a shout-out to Howard Griffith,
is it really?
co-executive producer of the show. Yeah, it sure is. It looks exactly like down to the exact goatee of the picture on his
That's very
website.
Funny. Got it.
So pretty funny, man. I think we found out where
he had a Dennis Hopper thing to me a little bit.
He did,
yeah,
a little bit, yeah. So we jumping into the bar scene, man, where Gordon and Olix are trying to cheer up Ed by saying, you get blown off by lots of women. What's so special about this one? I think that was the simulation they used when John was trying to help Gordon improve his game. Down the road.
No.
It looked exactly the same.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
That's really good.
I mean, I guess that's just what space bars look like in the 25th century. I don't know.
I just want to. I wish. I know that he doesn't get paid for it, but I feel like Jason Alexander should get paid every time they use Olex because
he should. That's a name, image, and likeness thing. Right?
I think so.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So we got him back, and that was great. And he had the old Yiddish expression: "Pot has every lid," meaning don't worry, Ed. There's somebody for everybody out there.
I did not know it was a Yiddish expression, and I just heard it recently on a podcast I produced called No Two Gays About It, where Michael Foley's mother was talking to him about that, saying there's a pot for every lid, which I love that. There's a lid for every pot. There's a pot for every
either
lid.
way. I think it's
my Yiddish.
Either way works.
They're great.
Yep, and it's good to know that Gordon's mom is trash in any timeline, right?
I told you, she's trash.
she's trash.
God.
Although I guess technically at this point the timelines hadn't diverged yet. So if Gordon's mom was trash and the prime timeline, I don't think it got any better.
No.
For her.
No, Gordon's mom being trash made us the Gordon that we know and love today. You know what I mean?
Exactly right. I loved seeing Captain Griffith talk to the new crew, and I'm like, so maybe he identified something early in John Lamar that would make him chief engineer, material. That didn't happen until late in season 1.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Where Kelly identified that in New Dimensions. But he did promote Steve Newton to XO/First Officer. And I don't think I've seen a character less worthy to be First Officer on the Orville than Steve Newton. Like, come on, kid. Who are you talking to over here? Just...
Yes. I love that.
So, but I did. The Lady Retepsian did stand out.
Here's what I'm gonna say.
What are you gonna say about the Lady Retepsian?
I think they are a hazard to have on a ship. I don't think that they should be quarantined.
All I'm saying is I wouldn't mind being pheromoned by that Lady Retepsian.
And that right there proves that you can't have them on the ship while you're flying for us, Mike.
I wonder if it's kind of like, it reminds me of Star Trek The Motion Picture now with Ilea, the navigator, the Delta navigator, who was irresistible. And they had remember, she walked in, she said, "My oath of celibacy is on record." Well, I don't know why she said it like that. She's like, "My oath of celibacy is on record." And Captain was like, "I trust you won't be messing up my crew.
Jeez.
With your womanly wiles."
I haven't watched it in a long time. I guess I'm going to have to.
Yeah, it's a great movie, man. It gets better.
We're getting the remaster and things like that, right?
Yeah. So the remaster's out. They definitely cleaned up the soundtrack, some of the pacing, added a lot of just colorization, got the color right, the color palette right, which is something they didn't have time to do. So it's well. So yeah, so maybe the Retepsians are the kind of the modern day Deltans. And I think that's kind of cool.
I mean, I'm not saying we shouldn't have them on the ship. I'm just saying they are a danger because we saw really bad decisions being made. It worked in some ways.
Somebody needs to be inoculated. Either everybody else. Right. Or they.
Although that sounds like you're making them like this birth control for these people, like it's.
Or maybe
they just sit in their room.
They just or take those 2 weeks off.
That's my point. So I'm just saying we're ignoring the blue elephant in the room.
Yeah. Did you notice? Did you like Captain Ellen Ripley? Her.
It really,
her assessment of Ed.
I feel like it was really David Goodman going, "You're telling us to write 500-year-old jokes for a show that's set in the future where we have to explain away to everybody that doesn't know this why you know this."
And he's probably like, "Enough already. We know you're insecure. I don't, you're right. I don't like you. You complain. You think all you want to hear about is how scared you are. You're constantly making terrible jokes and the pop culture references that no one seems to understand. But you, the 500-year-old movies and television shows that no one cares about anymore. Who the hell cares if Tom Franks made a mistake focusing on drama?"
I was so confused because I was like, "Who's Tom Franks? Who's Tom Franks?" And now I realize how cruel that is to Tom Hanks. Listen, Tom Hanks had to get an Oscar one way or another, and then he got turned on by that Oscar, and he wouldn't stop.
Yeah.
But I think I'm wondering if David Goodman has heard Seth MacFarlane say that, and then just put that into the...
Oh yeah. I mean, I would not be surprised at all if that wasn't just
because the complication,
writer's room convo.
The complication of like Seth not working on the Family Guy now is all these jokes that are getting made that are a little maybe politically incorrect or politically challenging. They all get assigned to him. Everyone thinks he's the one that, or just topically that feels those ways. I thought he didn't like cats, and it turns out it's just probably someone on a bender against cats in the writers' room. He hasn't worked on it since 2011. So now, naturally, I think that Seth MacFarlane has this opinion of Tom Hanks not doing comedy, but David Goodman could just be sullying. Sullying.
And then similarly, we had Claire's assessment of Kelly. So you're saying because you didn't go out with this guy again, you didn't end up marrying him, you didn't end up cheating on him, and so you didn't feel guilty about him. Excuse me. So you didn't feel guilty about how you ruined his life, and then you go on to help him get command of the Orville. And if he had command of it, he wouldn't have taken that posting and saved the Union, essentially. And you're here because you need to see a good therapist.
I loved it. That might have been one of my favorite retorts. It was very good.
I think if a comic can make you laugh out loud, it's doing a good job. I really think the threat to the future was much overlooked, though. They were like, no Ed, no Orville, the Kalons win. It should have been like, no Gordon, no P Corner. They never addressed what all the people on the Captain Griffith at all hanging out in the shuttle bay.
Where did they do
not even mention of it.
Where did they do their business?
I don't know where they did they weren't able to do their business. That's probably why they lost the war.
You know what, though? I think Gordon forgot that there was a shuttle where they were, and they could have used the bathroom in the shuttle. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but the shuttle, the bathroom shuttle is just like a hole. It's just like it just kind of goes out into space.
No.
Kind of like what we have on the airplanes.
No,
don't look up, people. Do not
You're
look up.
You're lying, right?
I am 100%
because, Mike, I confess to you now, as an adult woman, I didn't know that wasn't the truth up until maybe a year ago.
Yeah, no, there's a giant tank.
Has to. I thought for sure you were sending poop rockets. I was like, no, of course. But then how does it not turn? So a year ago, that was changed my mind for me, finally. Thank you.
Did Alex have something to do with that?
wonder. I bet you yes, honestly.
He seems to often be but just sort of a warehouse of information.
He's a smart boy.
He is.
Man.
He really is.
Yeah.
He is. And then we lose Cassius.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, that's it? That's all you felt?
Here's the thing. Obviously he was heroic. He obviously loved her very much.
Good riddance. He did.
I don't remember why they broke up in the show. Is it just that she lost interest in him? She did, right?
He was getting very interested. He was like, remember they were in that New York environmental simulator program, and he was asking to go away and get pretty serious, and she was like, we got to take a pause on this.
Right. I think he did fall in love with her. I think the thing is like, if she doesn't have Ed in the back of her mind, does she move on and want to marry this guy? I think she truly loves him too, but it's not meant to be in the same way. Anyway, my point is super nice guy. He's got to die. Someone had to.
Super nice guy. He even telegraphed it when he said, "Of course I'll go with you. I took a vow. Till death."
Really funny too.
Part.
I knew he was going to die because Ty was like, "He's a good guy." I was like, "Oh no."
Yeah, boy.
Oh, no.
And she's like, "Yeah, he is." I just lost my train of thought.
That's fine. I do it all the time.
That's too bad.
Was it talking about Cassius and how he is fine that he's dead?
No, it wasn't.
Was it about me sneezing?
No, it wasn't about that either. So we can go back to Cassius telegraphing Cassius's death.
We knew he was going to die. I think, to Ty's credit, he's got a good read on people because he loves Isaac and he knew there was good in Isaac. Arguably, probably Isaac didn't follow through with blowing up the world because of Ty. So if Ty thinks Cassius is a good guy, then
yeah, and that character has brought so much to this show, and that young actor Ty Weiner is just Kai Weiner, excuse me, is just seems by all accounts to be just a phenomenal young man.
Yeah,
and when we inevitably get the Orville season 4 announcement, I just hope that he and BJ Tanner and everybody comes back.
Well, you could see BJ too coming into his own really strongly because, as he's getting older, he's able to handle. He's maturing into a wonderful young man as an actor, and you could see them recognizing that and utilizing that.
And do you 100% because they did that with BJ Tanner in Electric Sheep,
right?
With season 3, episode 1, that was a Marcus Finn episode.
Right.
And he was fantastic. fantastic in it. So what a great use of the ensemble cast. And so much attention to detail. Remember when we covered The Road Not Taken? And we joked about Ty saying, "Hey, Mom, can I push the button?"
Yes.
And she just gives him this look like, can I push it next time? I think.
Yeah, it's the same.
And she was like, "You're so stupid." Like, you just give him this like the most dismissive look. But then in this one, they kind of filled that in where she was like, "Hey, Mom, I pushed the button."
Didn't he ask to push the button?
It was the opposite. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I see. Yes.
Yeah, I botched that and got it backwards. But you get the idea. They connected those dots for us.
Well, and that's, again, I love that. Like, that's also why this was a little hard, and I didn't want to do the full recap. I was like, there's a lot of little things in here. That makes it enjoyable.
Yeah.
Mom, can I do the check?
So please go. I'm sorry?
Mom, can I do the check to be?
She's like, yeah, whatever, kid. And then, but all those little details, man, it made it really, really difficult to do the recap. But man, it made the reading very enjoyable and hold up over a number of different. I think I went through it about 3 times myself.
It's very enjoyable. There's nothing like an alternate universe episode on even like Friends and Grey's Anatomy. I love those. So
yep, really, really do. I really, just Ed's retort when the Epsilon Eridani, which was the space station I was trying to think of a couple of episodes ago, when that was under attack and the Kalons were like, "Halt," and he just goes, "You halt." It's just like, what's that the best you could come up with?
You halt. You know what I was thinking about last night? A happy Arbor Day.
Yeah, that's right. You got wood.
Oh, it's so much better.
That was another thing that I laughed about in your recap too, because you were like, the Orville narrowly escaped their interaction with the Krill battleship, and I was like, how did they narrowly escape it? They just got lucky.
That's exactly right.
That's right. When Griffith was reporting back, he's like, "Yeah, we got lucky. We got lucky. Good deal."
Nothing
just
to do with the tree.
He could have just gone back to Tala's line in Heroes where he just said, "It wasn't that hard."
Oh. Jeez. Anything?
And then,
carry on.
Oh no. And then when Ed and Gordon make their escape. And that was. I mean, there was really good snippets of what you could see was essentially storyboarding what I thought would have been a really good live action story. It was great as a comic book.
Yes.
But you can kind of see these things and say, okay, if this was live action, this is how it would go. And that's really, I think, and again, being new to comic books, I mean, it's not the first time I've ever read one, but it just hasn't really been my...
It's not your preferred
medium of choice. Yeah. But now that we've run into these, I can really see how you can tell an effective story. You can put all the pieces in there to create in your mind a fully fleshed out, essentially in your head live action story, and it's done very well, and I think these are done too.
And we talked about this. They have the added padding of us knowing the characters already, but that leaves even more space for displaying something rather than hitting us over the head with something or telling us how these people are or whatever. So they just have the room to explore the action of it. It's a very simple moment, but when Kelly realizes that Claire wasn't on the Orville, and we just see that long panel of her running out of the room.
Yeah, it was like 3 different panes, I think, at least.
I pictured it in the show. I felt exactly what was going on. And, that's a nod to David Cabeza, too. But, just taking the time to just give us that moment is impactful, and that's what this whole comic book series has been like. So you're really right to point that out. Absolutely.
It really has. And also nice touch leading into the opening of The Road Not Taken, that the only thing that was damaged on the shuttle was the food synthesizer.
My favorite thing. When I think about it,
cannot survive without a Twinkie.
No, it's not even that. It's the perfect thing to get when you haven't had that, or like a Big Mac. You're getting a Twinkie or a Big Mac.
Yeah.
You cannot get that in real life. You know what I mean? Now, I also fail. I balk to believe. The word I'm trying to find is totally gone. There's a shelf life Twinkie out there somewhere. It's they're able to find a dispenser and there's a Twinkie. But I love that if they can't find that, they're definitely getting a Twinkie first. I have recently gotten a Twinkie because of that episode. And they're okay.
I may have to go get one today, but
nothing beats a ding dong. Sorry.
But before that, you want to go switch to the other part where we talk about the serious parts of this comic.
Yeah, I hope that my memory doesn't get wiped before then.
Okay, so we've come to the part of the show where we explore the big ideas in the episode Digressions and discuss the messages, morals, and meanings. And then we'll talk about and see if it aligns with the Roddenberry Star Trek philosophy. So what'd you think, Jess? Any decisions, sort of, bigger ideas that came up to you in this episode?
Well, yeah, I have an opinion a little too soon before we get to whether it aligns with Roddenberry Star Trek philosophy.
Oh yeah, no, we can opine now all we want.
We can mishmash it. I think this is a little less Star Trek philosophy because it's more of a what if show. They do deal with the impact of going to the future and we really see the damage that it could potentially cause when Gordon goes accidentally back into the past because of the Aronov device and what was it, second chances or something like that, or
twice in a
lifetime. Thank you. It was a heartbreak of an episode because what harm was he causing by just being a pilot in our modern era, falling in love with the woman? But the repercussions, we have no way to potentially know what that changes. And Kelly just making a simple choice. I don't think, if I were Kelly, that I could date Ed either. I honestly don't think I'd even be interested in him. And so what is she supposed to do? If the memory wipe didn't work, I mean, I think she should have just gone to go someone else and try to get the memory wipe again. Do you know what I mean? So maybe that's an issue, but I can't really blame her for not going back to him. Kind of.
Yeah, I mean, it made sense at the end of Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow that she said, "I don't think it's going to work out," because she saw that it didn't work out.
Yes.
And she explained in The Road Not Taken that, I loved you. Like, as little as time as we had together, I fell in love with you during that time on the Orville. And you were great. But I just saw that I caused you so much pain that I didn't want to do that to you again. And that was the well-intentioned act of young Kelly that had many, many unintended consequences, as we've seen later. And man, I agree with you with those alternate timeline what if stories. Yesterday's Enterprise may talk a little bit more about that. I'm not sure. Even something like Mirror Mirror in the original series. Even though that was a mirror universe, right. I think the metaphor was like, we as a race, if we make a few different decisions, we could go from democratic freedom, individual, value and stuff like that to a very hardcore autocratic society over the course of a couple of 100 years, right? Because decisions that are made. So I think I look at Mirror Mirror as kind of like less of a parallel universe and more of like a what if. Like, what if we make just the wrong decisions along the way? We'll end up like this. And it takes that same sort of perseverance every single day to stay on track. Because if you get just a little bit off track every day, then over the course of, in this case, 7 years or hundreds of years, you're going to end up someplace completely different than where you were trying to be.
Well, yeah, but that also, we had so little control over what happened and how come we're here today talking about a comic book, because also chaos theory prevails, where it's just a bunch of different random things have created what we're living today. It could have easily have been dinosaurs are still alive, and like, oh yeah, there's no rhyme or reason why things happen, and any bad thing can happen. Well, so like, I guess the greater question is, we can't. I remember being a kid and having a young realization that if I made one decision versus another, I'd be changing the course of my life forever in that moment. And so I can see where, like, I had, like, the very beginnings of an OCD personality. Right. That because my father didn't believe in having ailments, he, like, said, cut it out. And he got me to cut it out. And I'm certainly not suggesting that that's how you get anyone through those things. But, like, I caught myself snapping on one side and then snapping on the other side to even out, then snapping twice on that other side, but then having to snap on. And I remember saying out loud to my dad, I'm doing this. And he goes, stop it right now. And he was right. He got seriously. He stopped me, and every time I wanted to do it, it made me go, why would I do it? But I think similarly, I had this realization. I was standing on top of a bench at school, and I said, if I don't jump right now, who am I going to make it so that my younger brother doesn't survive something in the future? Or if I do jump right now, will X, Y, and Z happen? And I was paralyzed by that choice. But then I had the wherewithal to realize also not doing something is a choice as well. Long story short, I had this huge epiphany at the age of 10, and I just realized it's too much of a burden. I can't live my life like that, wondering what choice I'm going to make and what it will lead to. So there's no possible way to know that even whether Kelly's not going back to Ed was the right or wrong thing.
I agree with you, and I love the fact that you were able to recognize that and talk to your dad about it. And even though the response was cut it out, eventually I think you were able to deal with that on your own. There's lots of tics that people have, whether it's that or superstitions or making sure that you do things a certain way, or just kind of making sure that you kind of prepare your uniform the same way before you go fly each time. I'm not saying I do that, but maybe other guys do. Just to kind of have that, just to sort of stack the odds in your favor.
Superstition, right? It's a thing.
Yeah. Here's what I think, though. I think that we make decisions based on where we are at the time. So had things been gone differently in the past, and you and I find ourselves in a different position than we are right now, maybe even a radically different position, then hopefully something will cause you to try to affect that situation and get things back to where you feel like they should be. So if I'm, say you make some decisions in a relationship. Mm-hmm. Right, I've been married 21 years now, and say I make a decision that kind of takes our marriage off course. Well, once I find myself there, I'm going to make a decision and probably act in a way to try to get things back on course that I wouldn't have had to make if I didn't make that first decision to begin with. So where you find yourself at any given time is the result of, many, many, many things, decided and undecided, chaos and non-chaos, that puts you in that position, and then that changes the environment. Mm-hmm. And your assessment of that environment changes. But if you have that goal of where you want to get and where you want to be, then you can make decisions to try to get you back to that place. So I don't think one decision can throw you off course forever. But I think one decision can change your trajectory, and then you'll have to do something else to correct down the line. And I think that's what we're seeing here with Kelly, is she made the decision to not date Ed for, I think, good reasons, like we said. But then later on, she had to make the decision to, holy cow, I've got to put my career at risk. I've got to put my reputation at risk to come forward and tell people what I did so that we can correct this. And she did it at the risk of
everything.
Great everything. Yeah, her career, her family, her husband, just to correct her previous action. And that is, I mean, I think that is a hugely positive role model demonstration of behavior, that when any of us have to make that correction to compensate for a previous decision, that you can say, look, at the time I thought I was doing the right thing.
Right.
It didn't work out that way. I know more now. So at this point, I'm coming to you saying that I need your help to fix this. And I think that is something that people are afraid to do. I've been afraid to do it. But if I think people are afraid to make that decision, then seeing somebody in a story that's written so well exhibit that might help make that decision. I know it does for me, because I think about things like this when I'm trying to decide how to handle situations.
I think it's such a beautiful perspective to take away, and I think that is a better summary of my takeaway from this as well. Is she thought she was doing the right thing. How could she have known whether it was going to have this sort of impact or not? She also, it was 6 years later, she forgot, in a sense, as much as one can.
Yeah. I mean, really, up until Isaac collapsed, she sort of had no indication that things were really changing in a big way.
Well, once she saw Isaac, I think she started panicking and realizing this is actually real. Like this,
right.
That was, I actually did this thing.
Yeah.
This went into a fugue state. So then she knew, I think the fear of her choices started to settle in until she started knowing that they actually had gone and that those things were being set into motion. She couldn't have had the foresight of her actions having this kind of...
Right. You make that decision and everything goes okay for a while and you think, all right, this is good. There might be some underlying anxiety. But as things kind of progress and everything's fine, you sort of put it out of your mind, right? And then something happens and kind of hits you in the head like a 4x4 saying, I've got to act.
An aha moment. Yeah.
Yep. And that's what she did. An aha moment. Take me on. Let's go. I love the good old 80s song. There's a laundromat I go to that plays 80s, and I think it's the smartest thing they could potentially do. I would go there just to hang out.
It's so good. So, and it's actually so clean. It actually is a pretty good hangout spot for as far as laundromats go. So to go back really quickly about your superstition point, I want to tell a really quick story about the Chatsworth High School baseball coach who in the year 2003 or 2004 they were world champions, at least American champions. They had They killed every other baseball team. They played at Dodger Stadium. They killed it. The first game of that season leading up to their World Series or whatever it is for high school, the coach, who was good friends with my aunt, his wife had washed all their clothes. His baseball pants were in the laundromat. And he goes, "Honey, where's the clothes? It's in the laundry." So he grabs his baseball pants, throws them on, goes to the game. They win. They crush the other team, and it's like El Camino, like these other great teams in our little circuit or whatever.
Yeah.
He takes off the pants that night. It's a PG story for the most part. He finds a pair of his wife's underwear in his pants because he had just taken them out of the laundry. He put a pair of his wife's underpants in his pants every single game, and they won the World Series for.
Oh, that's too funny.
One of the things that I've had to learn, is that superstition? Is it because you did that? Did you win? But it's much a superstition, or you setting out your captain's uniform the same way every day. It really is actually just a routine that clicks your brain into place for a positive mentality to do the best job you possibly can given the circumstances. So superstition is really, if you look at it in a practical sense, you setting yourself up for success as much as possible.
I really think that, we've talked about putting your game face on as an expression, before you go to work, or your friend who's a coach, or maybe not your friend.
Well, that's, by the way, that story is a secret. And so if anyone who knows about Chatsworth baseball from high school and knows that coach who really got a great reputation from taking those kids all that way, this is an embarrassing story.
Right, good. Well, it's a good thing you didn't identify them with a particular school in a particular year, so there's no way to go back and find out who this person is.
I did it on purpose, because you know what? He needs to know people know that story. But anyway, carry on.
Yeah, no, it's just, one of those things that, I think many of us do. Baseball players are notoriously superstitious. And I think if something were to happen where they fell out of their routine, then they would kind of make other decisions later on to try to get them back into that routine, is sort of my...
And there's another thing, too, where in the Olympics, if all of a sudden a member of the team is in the mentality of, I'm not going to win, I'm not good enough, blah, 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 they literally quarantine those athletes from the other athletes, because that sort of negative thinking and unwellness is contagious. And I think it's kind of similar to that one gymnast, the famous gymnast who she knew she needed to not compete anymore, and she was going to hurt herself if she pushed past it. So
right.
Another thing to the decisions aspect of things, and then we'll move on. I hate Louis C.K. now. The guy just never decided to take any accountability for his actions, and is now really catering to a very unseemly crowd. But a broken clock is right twice a day, and it was pretty insightful up to a certain point. And he was on, I want to say, like Kimmel or something, and he was talking about how there is no wrong decision, that when you make a decision, the choice that you make starts making itself the right decision after a series of events. So if you're deciding whether to move or not move, whenever you make the decision to do one of those two things, the second you decide not to move, well, it's good, because you actually just were able to refinance your mortgage, and you wouldn't have been able to do that otherwise. Or your kid got accepted to the school that you wanted them to go to. Or if you decide to move, you get a mover special, or you find a better place. Life makes it so the decision you make, if you're following true north as much as possible, which is hard, especially if you're depressed or if you have financial burdens or whatever, it's hard to follow true north. It's hard not to fall off of the path of your life going well, where you all of a sudden feel like, oh no, I need to right the course in this. It's easy to get, I'm just going to make this shortcut today, right? My point is, you're going to make a mistake. It's a totally normal, natural human thing to do. But as much as possible, life's going to lead you down the best case scenario if you're trying to do that, I think, or if you're capable of doing that. And I thought that was interesting. It took a lot of the burden of choice off my shoulders for me.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So whichever decision you make, there's going to be positive aspects to it.
That start making it the right
even
choice.
A difficult choice, and then you can, if you play off those positives, then that becomes the right choice. Wisdom by Louis C.K.
R.I.P.
as R.I.P. as paraphrased by Jessica.
What a one! I am a real wordist.
Yeah. So, a bunch of things to talk about. I encourage people to read the comic books. I mean, it was great to see Admiral Halsey back as Admiral Halsey, using good judgment, being a great mentor. He was great. And, people went along with Kelly's hypothesis and her explanation. And I think that's just kind of the sort of the family aspect that we've seen on this ensemble cast of the Orville, even if they're separated by a couple of different realities.
Yeah. Meant to be. And that's a little whimsy, but I love that too.
Yep, it sure is. Do you have any thoughts on messages or not messages, but
you could definitely ask this question if you want.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What do you think about either, does it align with the Roddenberry philosophy, or any sort of takeaway, big messages, morals, meanings you want to talk about?
I mean, like I said, I don't know that this is so much an episode that's like, look at the big, like, here's the big result of. I mean, obviously, her choices have a big impact, but I think she was just trying to do the best she could. And I think in general, we're humans, whether you're on a spaceship or on planet Earth, trying to do the best you can. And you don't. Your intention is not to hurt people. If your intention is not to hurt people, sometimes you do, and sometimes you don't. Like, I don't know. It's just there's nothing that could be more human than her choice to try and do something different for the better, and accidentally causing something worse. You can't. I don't know. You tell me. You go for it. I think I'm done.
Well, I honestly just thought of this as good storytelling. I mean, it was entertaining. It reminded me some ways of yesterday's Enterprise. There was a little bit of, the Kaelon attack we compared to the Best of Both Worlds and Star Trek: The Next Generation. And to me, it just sort of had a very true feeling. There's a word that's used in sci-fi or entertainment sometimes called verisimilitude. It just means the appearance of being true or real. And I think that's what science fiction writers who are using science fiction as a metaphor to examine the human condition from a global perspective, what they're trying to accomplish is to get people that are not necessarily sci-fi fans to look at these people, one of whom has a horn in the middle of their head. Somebody else has eyebrow ridges and super strength. Somebody else is blue and has, Rhodesian pheromones.
It turns Mike on.
You look at these people. I'm just saying if I was pheromoned, I wouldn't be able to resist.
I understand.
That's all I'm saying. That's everybody. That's everybody.
Point of view. Absolutely.
Everybody. That you look at these people and you sort of don't think about the fact that they're in funny makeup and that they look how they look. You're more interested in the relationships and the situation and trying to do the right thing and accomplish a task. And here, like we said, Kelly thought she was doing the right thing. Like many of us, like many people who do things, at the time you're making the best decision you can. Later on finds out that went horribly wrong and just had to for her own conscience, for the sake of everybody, Earth and Moklis and the space station that Ed worked on, all of that, go forward, put her career at risk, and admit to what she did and ask for help. And I think that's a great lesson overall. Just that being accountable for your actions. Let's not forget also, every pot has its lid. That's a great, moral meaning message. If you're, wondering, when you might meet somebody.
I don't know that
every pot has their lid.
Great message for people that are out there single. If I was doing this and I was single right now, I'd be like, right. Because he literally gives up his entire career. Like Ed makes bad choices.
So I kind of wonder why things. So he was in command of that space station when he found out Kelly was cheating on him at the beginning of Old Ones.
Right.
So Kelly kind of ends up in the same spot at that time. What he missed out on was that year of drunkenness and being hungover and all that stuff leading up to when Admiral Halsey offered him the captaincy.
Because of Kelly.
So theoretically, without Kelly's indiscretion, he would not have had that really bad year. He would have kind of kept plugging away and I think moving up in the ranks. Maybe.
Yeah, probably. But would he have been as excellent of a... But that's just the what if game that you can't really play, right?
Yeah, you can't. What if Kelly went and got the krill in this episode instead, or in this story instead of concentrating on? She could have, but here's the thing: she didn't work with Ed, so she didn't go through Old Wounds with the krill. She didn't go through the krill episode titled Krill with the krill. She didn't go through Nothing Left on Earth Excepting Fishes and the whole Talea, or not the whole Talea, the beginning of the Talea arc.
Talea, Kalari, Katan. It's a lot.
It's a lot. It's tough. Michaela McManus. I'll just say that.
Yes, I'm just no, it's Talea, but Zalea, it's Talea.
Yeah.
It's all there. It's tough.
It's all there. But I think we're doing great.
Great.
I thought maybe that was sort of the reason why the Krill weren't looked at as a resource, because she wasn't there for the Lockvi Pact.
Right.
She didn't realize that things were improving between the two groups, mostly because of Ed.
And they might not have been at that point, right? So
Yeah.
like the relationship
had
with them was much different.
Much more tense. So that's, I just, like I said, I think this is, I don't know that it's necessarily a super Star Trek-y episode, but not all Star Trek episodes are.
Correct. That doesn't make it a bad, moral-less episode.
No, I think it's a great story. I think it's good entertainment. I do think it has some morals and messages to pick out of here. And there's nothing more Star Trek than, honoring the truth, right? I mean, Captain Picard in the episode First Duty said, our first duty as Starfleet officers is to the truth.
You said duty.
Whether it's scientific truth or historical truth or personal truth, it's the guiding principle on which Starfleet is based. And Kelly told the truth at great personal risk. And
got Cassius killed, honestly.
So really, that right there does make it live up to, that Star Trek philosophy. But, as I've said before, the Orville is, evolving into its own thing. And we really saw that toward the end of season 2. And we only, once we get that announcement on season 4, #renew the Orville. It's going to take a lot of fan support, I think, at this point, but I think we'll get it.
I think in general,
it really comes onto its own.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I think we were probably the first people to say that it's its own thing, because it's such a great show, and there's so much. I think it's an example of how much philosophy and wisdom they put into the storytelling in order for us to be able to reflect so broadly on it. But in general, and I think you know this about me, and I value this in you, is my penchant towards the truth, at least the truth as I see it. The truth and honesty are different things, but life goes more swiftly and easily for me the more I can tell the truth in the moment, or when I realize I haven't and should. And anyway, I also just want to take this opportunity to thank you so much for your beautiful insights that also affect me and change me and help me make better decisions all the time.
Same here. I'm saving a ton of money on therapy by doing this show and not having to do that every week.
Call a therapist. Thanks, Claire Finn.
But Jessica, thank you so much for the beautiful words and thoughts. And I'll close it out by saying Mission Log the Orville is produced by Roddenberry Entertainment, technical production by Earl Green. Our website and your opportunity to comment and connect with us is podcasts.roddenberry.com. If you're watching the live premiere on YouTube, you can join us on the Mission Log Discord to continue the conversation. If you don't have access, go to patreon.com/missionlog.
For as little as $1 a month.
$1 a month?
What? Join us next time on Mission Log the Orville for Artifacts Parts 1 and 2. This is a Roddenberry podcast. For more great podcasts, visit podcast.roddenberry.com.